Man up now, man up.
I'm KD Bowe. Time now for your man up moment. Let's talk about growth a little bit. I believe you got to have one goal that is so big, you got to grow into it. And true growth requires that you make yourself comfortable with stepping up to opportunities that typically make you uncomfortable. It's about acquiring thick enough skin to withstand all of the no's until you get that one yes that'll change your life forever. And I hope you understand that. You're one yes away from being in the position that you really want to be in life. One yes. But you're not going to get to that yes until you get comfortable with doing the uncomfortable. Things like pressing through in spite of any disappointment or rejection. Psalm 56:4, I trust in God and I'm not afraid. I praise him for what he has promised. What can a mere human being do to me? So go through those challenges and grow so you can be fearless, just like your daddy. For weekly motivation, text the word brothers to 56525. Man up. Ladies and gentlemen, that dude, Travis Greene. What up, man?
What's up, family?
When you came into the studio, as I was watching you, one thing I did see, I saw this guy is at peace. Like, he don't want anything. Now, maybe you do. I couldn't tell. And that stood out to me.
Wow.
Stood out because you wasn't like on that grind like so many other people. But it was almost like, I couldn't really put my finger on it. It was almost, it wasn't apathy. It was almost like, what's a good word? It was almost like it was, like you said, you know, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. You were in the moment. You were present. That's the word.
Wow.
Present in the moment. When I was around you, you had your people with you. That's fine. They seemed to be more angst. You were present in the moment. And it was refreshing to see it. But when I think back to that time you were in the studio, I do like, oh, what's that? Made me wonder like, oh, what's that? What's going on? You're just very, and you're such an anomaly. I just have never seen it. I don't want to say that because I interviewed a lot of people, but it's very rare that I see it. Like CeCe Winans has that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Man, that's some good stuff.
I think it's the God factor, man. I mean, I honestly believe, you know, the Bible says in John 4, they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And I think we have the spirit part down pat, or at least a form of godliness. So we can tongue talk you, we can shout, we can church you. But I think in our churches, man, it's why I respect E. Dewey so much. It's because he's an honest preacher. And I think in our church, have enough truth. Like, man, that, and it's a self-awareness thing. It's the God awareness, really is what it is. Self-awareness gives myself too much credit. It's sitting at the feet of Jesus and saying, show me what you see about me. It's funny, man. Rarely when I pray, God tell me about other people's business. You know, if it's something he just want to warn me about, he'll flag something. Hey, beware of this character flaw. Like, this is going on with this person. Pray for them, intercede for this. But 98% of our time is, Travis, you need to come up. Like, you need my perspective. You need to, let's address that in your heart. There's some jealousy there. There's some, there's some things there. And let's contend with this so that you can be more like me. I think that's what it is, man. And only God can be glorified, because I know what it's like. I mean, I almost bring me to tears. I know what it's like to be bound. I mean, by ambition. It's as strong it's as much of a stronghold as crack cocaine, pornography, anything else you want to put on that list. Man, and it grieves my heart because it's so prevalent now with this generation. Everybody wants to be somebody that no one even is significant. And it's like, my wife and I were talking about it last night. You got these kids now who can, I mean, this is our television, right? More TV is watched on your phone than on an actual physical TV. And so, you got these kids now who, because I got, 10 followers, like, I think that I'm somebody, and it almost misrepresents significance when you haven't really done much in life. They call them influencers. And I'm not trying to hate on nobody, but it's like, man, like, that's what I respect about you, man. I could get, like, you got a real resume. Like, you ain't new to this. Like, you got real stake in the ground of being consistent and like lasting. And for me, that's the win. The win is not a hit, man. Forget that. A win not intentional. Like because that could have been a, I know the little thing behind me, but that could have been like an accident. I could have tripped up on that, right? It's not hard to get a hit. You've been around long enough to see people come and go. So for me, I don't quantify a win by an award or from a hit. No, I quantify it by longevity. Kirk, how did you last 20 years? And be relevant. Donnie, how have you lasted? Like that to me, I'm after the marathon, man, not after the sprint. And so, but the only way you last, CC, is from character, man. Like you don't last off of skill. You want injury away from never playing pro again. You last off of character. Your character could get you a job as a coach. Your character could get you a job as a GM, Jerry West, even 50, 60 years after you touch the basketball. Your character can keep you around. That's what I want, man. I want to be relevant in the next 20 years. And making music is easy, but I want what to be said about me to be what you just said, that I'm present in the moment. That's a bigger compliment to me than, hey, man, that song sounds good,
Yeah, man, the Bible says, mark the perfect man, for at the end of that man is peace. And so, man, listening to you talk, you're like the sun. The sun don't make no apologies because it's the sun. I kind of like heat the world up. If you're going to be around me, you're going to have to come on where I am. So if you go outside, it's bright, you got to do this. You're going to put some shades on.
So good.
You got to do that. You got to. So what I'm saying is with you're stable, man. Like you ain't trying to ask permission. It's like you just who you are. And you remind me of my college days. It's like I'm getting a mindset here of how I used to be. Like it was hard to be around people because I liked being in the presence of God so much, and everybody was so freaking disappointing.
Yeah.
And so you just didn't want to be around folks, but you learn and you grow up, and that zeal, it kind of, it goes away some. But listening to you talk, man, it's just like, I just want to see what that secret place feels like again. And I guess my business, I haven't visited that place, but I'm telling you, Doc, I recognize it. And I'm jealous. If I can be jealous, maybe God is only gonna be jealous, but I'm a little envious. I don't know which one is the better one. I don't know. But
righteous envy.
It's like I want that because you're making it look very tantalizing.
Man, I fight for it, man. And there's been seasons where it was like way, my spiritual pursuit was way harder than others, but I fight for it, man. I call it fight for the wonder. It's probably the next series I'm gonna do at my church. But like, I just told my staff, man, on Monday. There's an African proverb that says familiarity breeds contempt.
Yes.
Which means whatever you have access to, whatever you see, you can get comfortable with. It's Jesus, the Bible, one of the saddest verses in the Bible, and he could perform no miracles there. Like, it's because they stopped honoring, or they didn't even have the revelation to honor his presence. And for me, man, I want to wake up the wonder. I want to fight for the wonder. I gave my staff this analogy. Disney World is one of the most fabulous places on earth, right? For kids. I hate it, but just to drive the plane home. But for most people, it's the most fabulous, magical place on earth. You know who is not magical for? Mickey Mouse. Because the guy who dresses up as Mickey Mouse just came off a smoke break. He don't really want to be out there. He's going through a season of, man, I really don't want to do this. I'm not living my best life. I'm trying to pay for college at Full Sail, and I'm just out here, and this sucks so bad. And I know all the malfunctions. I know that they've been working on this ride, because it broke down last week. I know, how dirty the kitchen is that's charging you $58 for a hot dog. So this is not what all it cut out to be. It's not wonderful. And I think what happens is whenever we get inside of what we got for the dream, we get on top of the mountain. It's so easy for us to lose wonder, man. Our marriages, you know what I mean? Like you look at your wedding pictures, how you look in her eyes and like, oh my God, this is the greatest moment. until it's not the greatest moment. You lost the wonder, you know, or your child, you pick up your child when they're born and like, man, I'm going to love this child, until you're around it every day. And it's like, oh, it's just my kid. You lost the wonder. I think it's human nature to lose wonder. I don't want anybody to feel down or bad about it, but I think you have to fight for wonder. Meaning you literally have to be deliberate about, hey man, I'm not going to allow my access. I'm not going to allow the frequency of this experience to dumb down how wonderful it is, man. You know how many people want to be married? You know how many barren women want to have kids? You know how many fathers want to provide for the family? You know how many people want to be on radio? Travis, you know how many people want to play multiple instruments and sing even for free? They just want somebody to hear them. Like, don't forget who you were in Warner Robins when you would go do anything for free just because you wanted someone to hear your original music and maybe buy a CD for $5. Like, don't forget that guy. It's that guy that got you here. What David messed up was, and I'm a hush after this, but what David messed up was, it wasn't sleeping with Bathsheba. That's where all the hype is in. Oh, he slept with this woman. That's not where David messed up. He messed up before he slept with Bathsheba in this. The Bible opens up with this story. It's so amazing, man. You got to read it. The story that talks about when he sleeps with Bathsheba. The Bible opens up and says, in the time that kings would go to war, David was on the rooftop. That's where David lost.
That's right.
It wasn't with Bathsheba. It wasn't an affair. It was that he was not at war where he was supposed to be. He had lost the wonder of his assignment, his first love, which was fighting. It was fighting that got David called. You know, David, his resume that gave him access to his next season of being able to face Goliath, which wasn't a giant, he was a door. In order to go through this door, he literally had to handsaw a resume of, hey, I'm actually a fighter. No, I don't have on y'all uniform. No, I didn't go to basic training, but I beat a lion and a bear. It was that qualified him for his future. When David stopped fighting, David started falling. Bathsheba didn't just move in next door. David was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, so he saw her taking a bath. So they've been living there, but he was in the wrong place. And whenever you're in the wrong place and whenever you lose the wonder of what you're called to and what got you called in the first place, you're on a slippery slope. And so you have to fight for wonder, man. That's where I am. I don't want a day to go by that I don't tell God, thank you. I don't want a day to go by that I don't tell my wife she's beautiful. I don't want a day to go by that I don't, man, take 10 minutes and wrestle in the ground with my sons. I know friends who's lost children in car accidents. I don't want, you know, the quickest cure for ingratitude is loss. And I don't want to have to experience loss to be grateful about everything that God gave me. I want to fight for wonder. I want to fight for wonder. I want Disney to be Disney, even if I'm there every single day. I want to fight for wonder.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even want to ask a question. I want that to just marinate, because I think one of the ways to experience that wonder or to rekindle that wonder, bruh, is to just look again. There's some stuff that you have gone eye blind to.
Come on.
It's stuff that's there, bruh. It's been there all along, but it's like you don't see it. You see it so much you don't see it. So ask God to refresh your perspective. God, refresh my perspective.
Come on.
So I can look again. And man, you know what? Just real talk. One of the fastest ways for you to reset your perspective about your wife, for men, is y'all dress up and she put on her stuff, you put on your stuff, and y'all go out to a crowded spot.
Yeah.
You're going to notice checking out your wife.
Wow.
It's going to reset your perspective, because you're going to want to say, you know what they're looking at, but you're going to look again, and it's going to do
so good.
And Lord,
I love that.
You know, go all the way left, but it's going to give you a hard reset.
I love that.
And then it's like, you're like, wow, man, really? That's why you got to go to different places, experience different things. Can't just be at the house all the time. You got to do something, man, to refresh that perspective and to be able to get that wonder.
Yeah, man.
Oh, you blessed me so much with that, bro.
Yeah, man. Fight for it. Fight for wonder, man.
So I said how I think you should do it. Like, how do you suggest getting that wonder?
Oh, man, I think you should, you know what? You should go to your email account and go back 5 years and look at favors you were asking for. Look at bookings that you accepted. look at your rider from 5 years ago. That's how you do it. And he's like, I was doing that? Oh my God. Like, I was accepting that? You know, Facebook does it for you all the time. You go on Facebook, it's going to say, 5 years ago, player. And you're like, oh, you know. So I think it's that, man. I think it's finding people who don't buy into the hype. Like my mom has refused to buy into the hype. And I don't even think she chose not to. I think she literally can't. Because to your point, it's like, yo, little boy, you came out of me. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and my wife, she don't buy into the hype. It's like, dude, take the trash out. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's having people around you that love you for your core and not for your talent. But then it's also, man, it comes back. I can't avoid it. It comes back to prayer.
Mm.
I think prayer places you in a place of, wow. When you see him properly, you see yourself properly.
Mm.
Isaiah, you know, he's praying in the year that King Uzziah died, you know, and the dude's like, whoa, that's wonder. Whoa, I'm a man of unclean lips. Whoa, you're big. Whoa. I think when you're in the face of God, man, and in his word, you know, Jesus in his word, he gives us, it's a great question, man. And I never really thought about it like this before, but Jesus gives us ways to maintain wonder. One of them is, you know, what he commands us, literally commands us to visit the sick, to not forget about those in prison, to clothe those who are naked, to feed the hungry. I think all of these things keep an awareness of man, like, boy, I'm blessed. Even when you don't feel blessed, like broken America is rich in certain parts of the world, right? And so it's just opening your eyes, man. And I think reflecting on those who, to your point, I love what you said about taking your wife out. You know, people who, being around people sometimes who wish that they could have what you have, sometimes snaps you out of this entitlement and gives you gratitude.
Yeah. My little my little competitive self, man. I go back and look at some of them cards when I was talking all big and strong and just, man, I'm like, who was this dude right here? Some of them I just hide them so my wife don't see them because I'm like, man, look at this here. Not that I'm that bad, but I ain't that dude. You know, I need. So one final thing, man. When your mother, how did she? You never told. When we've heard the story about, you know, you falling down. There's an elevator shaft.
No, I fell out of a window, 4 floors.
Okay, I done made a whole story about you fell out of the elevator, down the elevator shaft. I done made that the Indiana Jones, Doc. So you, oh my gosh, so you fell out. Did you? So many questions. Did you get pushed? Did you just? How you get out a window?
Yeah, my mother and I got 2 different versions. I remember, I thought that I remember falling asleep up there because I'm about almost narcoleptic. Like I can fall asleep anywhere. So I think I remember just basically just falling asleep, and then, but she claims I was blowing kisses at little girls walking by or something. So I don't know, man. Regardless, I fell.
I don't know.
I don't know about the blowing kisses thing.
And you fell down, and when you fell down, you bit your tongue.
Yeah.
And on the ground, you had a vision.
Yeah.
Because I think you died, right?
Yeah. I was pronounced dead by doctors. Yeah. It was actually as I was falling. You know, and this is what I told my mother, that I never hit the ground. You know, was just a very powerful, I think, demonstration of like the grace of God. You know, oh death, where's your sting? You know, I didn't have the sting of death. I remember just falling into a hand instead of in the ground.
Let me tell you something. And this at this point, it's fact now. Every person that I have heard tell this story about dying and, you know, maybe going to heaven or some hell, you know, they never remember the impact. They never remember the plane crash. They never remember getting hit by a train. They never remember falling and hitting the ground. They remember none of that. And I'm thinking that must just be the grace of God, unless you've heard somebody, and if you have, don't mess up. Okay, good. So it's like that might be just the grace of God from not letting you experience that. So for some of us who have had tragic deaths, I feel led to say this, some of us that have had tragic deaths in our lives, and it was bad, and all you can think about is them drowning. You can think about them feeling that impact. You can think about them getting shot. I feel in my soul, they didn't feel none of that. They didn't experience none of that. That's not a part of their story at all.
Yeah.
It's a part of our story, but it's not a part of their story and their experience. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that, man. That's a blessing. It's because some people are tormented by that.
Yeah.
Feel me?
No, there's a book, man. I got in my library, and it's called Fox's Book of Martyrs. It's a phenomenal book. I'm probably gonna read it again this summer.
Fox's
Book of Martyrs. Yeah, I think I got multiple copies of it because it's just such a inspirational book. Fox's FOXE apostrophe S, Fox's Book of Martyrs, and it's a very, I mean, it's a very, very well known like book of accounts of people who were tormented for the sake of Christ, and I'm talking about from, this is from centuries ago. And what's incredible, man, is a lot of these accounts, man, of stories, people, the tormentors end up getting converted because while they're burning someone at the stake or freezing someone to death, I mean, there's so many different stories. The people are dying with smiles on their faces. There's stories of people, man, in the first several centuries who are being martyred for Christ and who are literally singing. And this is a thing, like people would be singing as they're burning at the stake, like singing with a smile on their face. And it's like, it will confuse the people who are doing it so much that it's like, oh, this God is real, and I think that's what it is, man. I think God has a way, man, of even in the midst of, I'm glad that you share that, man. I have a friend, LaShawn Daniels, aka Shiz, Big Shiz, who died, last August or September. It was hard, really hard. One of the hardest deaths I had to deal with. One of my really great friends, and but it was my comfort was, John Gray was close with him too, and John had told me, and his wife actually said it too, that God had told John that she didn't feel it. He was in the car wreck, but he didn't feel it. And, his car caught on fire and all that. And he's like, he didn't feel it. He didn't feel it. He was gone before it even happened. And God is big enough to do that, man. Oh, death, where is your sting? Oh, grave, where is your victory? And
man, about God and about heaven. My mom died, was it 7 years ago? My mom died. I wasn't there, but they told me that as she was making a transition, all that pain she was in, it just stopped. And all she was saying was, wow. Wow. She was just saying, wow, over and over again. So I can only imagine that the glory of where she was going, just like, yo, I believe, but I didn't know if I believed, like, wow, Oh, but you about to make me mess up. But I think it's amazing, the God that we serve. I think I'm gonna get this question to your mom, man, about your mom, but I think that sometimes, man, we fall into these pockets of either unbelief or pockets of stagnation, pockets of not having that wonder that you talk about. And man, we minimalize God and we make him average. But it's like we know this much of God, but it's like a whole chasm of him that if you just dig, you'd find new stuff that makes you say, wow, wonderment. So this was a good conversation for me. I wasn't expecting to go there in the journey mentally, but it's a blessing. One final thing. How did your mom let you go, or has she? I know she has let you go.
It depends. It depends on what angle you want that question from. It was difficult for her, man. You know, if I'm being transparent, it was very difficult for her, and for my sisters, I believe. You know, who I am, in our family. You know, I was the only guy in the house. You know, in between two sisters, and then the mom. So, and no other guys ever came in the house ever. So I was the rock. You know, I was, whether I wanted to be or not, in a sense, dad. You know, in a sense, I was the man of the house. You know, my mom would always tell me from the age 5 to, 18, you're the man of the house, like be the man of the house, So I felt like it was my duty to protect. And, they never put the pressure on me of providing, but just being that support system, felt like it was always like my job. And I think, I think it was difficult, that transition of marriage. I think that was like the letting go part. I think the career in church and everything else that I'm doing, that stuff was easy, but it was like, oh man, like, and my mother says it like this, that God had to really heal her heart from, she wasn't losing a son, but she was gaining another daughter.
Right.
And overcoming that was, man, it was difficult for her, man. I mean, she was never like vicious or like, Cruella de Vil or nothing like that, but it was like, you could just feel the tension in our family dynamic. It was really difficult for her and my sisters of like, oh man, he's growing up, like he's not like forsaking us, but he's growing up. And so I think it was difficult for the entire family, but they all, I think everyone kind of grew into it and started understanding, I think, a little more over time, like, oh man, okay, this is actually a good thing. And I think our kids help that too. And it's like, okay, well, I wouldn't have grandkids. So it's like everybody loves their nephew. So I think all of that stuff, and then just seeing my wife continue to evolve and be consistent. My wife is just so pure, man. And I think her consistency has really been helpful for our family too. So that's the real answer. I don't think it was easy, but I think we got there together.
Praise God. Final thing, question. You want a girl?
No. No.
You good?
No. We're good, man. Three and out, man. That's it, man. That's it.
You want that girl though?
No, sir. First of all, no, we're not having any more kids. We went on and tied those two blitz on up. So no, that's done with kids.
You guys are doing the miracles, Doc, don't you know? Hey.
Yeah, we're good, man. We're good. And then two, I'm scared of having a daughter, man. I was super scared of having a daughter, man. I was a sneaky church boy, I was a keyboard player,
Hey, but honestly though, girls bring something out of you, man, that you don't know what having a child is like. A man doesn't know what having a child is like until he has a daughter.
That's what I heard.
And I say like this, every parent needs a daughter. Now, granted, your sons might be awesome. Okay, let's just say that. But every parent needs a daughter because guys, we don't handle pain very well. Mm-hmm. And hey man, them daughters, man, they get right up in there and they just like, oh, it's just da 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 da. But man, my kids, my final two were severe preemies as well. 27 weekers and 26, 27 weekers.
Whoa.
So, yeah, it was tough, but we got through it. But man, she was a trooper. I was a disaster because I was scared.
Yeah.
Scared, Doc.
Yeah.
But they're good now, asking for, the latest iPhone, the latest everything, because we're rich, apparently. Yeah, we're rich, I guess. So, hey, man, I appreciate this time spending with you, man. Any final words you want to give to the audience, bro?
Oh, man, this is great, man. Once again, just affirm who you are, man, who you've been in my life. I'm grateful for your endurance and longevity. You still got it, man. You're still relevant. I think you are a testament of what a life surrendered to God can do, man. That's a real win. You know, the metrics of success is not getting there, but staying there. And so that's what you've done. And so I honor you, man. I'm grateful for you, man. I'm grateful for it just to even be connected. This was probably my favorite interview of the quarantine. I think so, man. Just the reflection, and I think it was definitely a divine and God moment. So thank you, man. Thank you. I love you.
Love you too, man. You're very welcome. And I appreciate you. Just look right in that camera, man, and just tell everybody under the sound of your voice to man up.
Hey, guys, this is Travis Greene inviting you to man up.
Man up now, man up.
I'm KD Bowe. Time now for your man up moment. Let's talk about growth a little bit. I believe you got to have one goal that is so big, you got to grow into it. And true growth requires that you make yourself comfortable with stepping up to opportunities that typically make you uncomfortable. It's about acquiring thick enough skin to withstand all of the no's until you get that one yes that'll change your life forever. And I hope you understand that. You're one yes away from being in the position that you really want to be in life. One yes. But you're not going to get to that yes until you get comfortable with doing the uncomfortable. Things like pressing through in spite of any disappointment or rejection. Psalm 56:4, I trust in God and I'm not afraid. I praise him for what he has promised. What can a mere human being do to me? So go through those challenges and grow so you can be fearless, just like your daddy. For weekly motivation, text the word brothers to 56525. Man up.